It was established in 1842 by the federal government to protect the Chickasaws and Choctaw Nations that were moving into the area. As part of an agreement they had with those two nations. You know, there were a number of Plains tribes in the area, and they just weren't, the Chickasaws and Choctaws, either one, were going to come without this support from the federal government. Later on, it served as a staging point for troops going into Texas during the Mexican War. And later, in the 1860s, it was a supply and hospitals for the Confederate States.
During the Civil War, this became a very important fort, and you were saying it took up a lot of space. It was very large.
Right. It was originally 10 square miles. It was huge. Now, it never had a stockade like some posts you see, but its original charter being more of a police-type situation, it never had the defensive needs until the Civil War. By that point, they didn't bother with actually fencing, and it was so huge, too. It couldn't be done. But during the Civil War, at times when things got bad, it was even the base of operations for the entire Indian Territory.
I think it's really cool that some of these buildings are still standing. What are we in right now?
This was what we call the West Barracks. It was enlisted men's barracks. The upstairs portion would have been bunk room. Downstairs, which we're in here, would be the mess hall.
And the building that we can see from right here, what was that?
That's a South Barracks. It was the same thing as this one. It's basically the same design, except it has a little bit different as far as chimneys go. This one was built with 3 separate fireplaces, and that one was just one. So we have a visitor center. You come in, we'll give you a pamphlet showing a map of the area and give you a history. We have, like I said, small museum. They can go through that and look at the artifacts that we have on hand. Then they're feel free just to go through. We leave the buildings open for the most part, and there's General Douglas Cooper's cabin, which is an original structure. We have a number of cabins. We have the corral cabins with the corral down at the lower end of the site. Numerous foundations for the bachelor's officers, the commanding officers' quarters, the hospital. We have a Chickasaw burial ground, a Confederate cemetery, and the post cemetery. It's important to know the state's history and to remember those that that worked here and died. Some died here, and it's an important part of the Oklahoma history, and it's good to remember these things.